I opened our shared calendar and saw the load she carries for us. The blue light from the tablet hit my face like a physical blow, in the otherwise dark kitchen. It was past midnight, way past when I usually called it a night, especially with work in the morning. But sleep wasn't happening, not with the dull throb behind my eyes and the way my stomach kept clenching. It wasn't indigestion, it was that feeling, the one you get when you know something's fundamentally off, even if you can't quite put your finger on it. Emily was asleep in our bed, probably dreaming about spreadsheets or what color the new backsplash should be. I wished I could be that oblivious, or maybe just that tired. My finger hovered over the app icon, the little calendar symbol. It felt heavy, like I was about to open something Pandora-ish, which is ridiculous, I know. It's just a damn calendar. We've had a shared family calendar for years, ever since our oldest, Leo, started kindergarten and the schedule exploded. Soccer practice, dentist appointments, parent-teacher conferences, our own work travel. It all went in there. Emily was usually the one who kept it meticulously updated. She always said, like, if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. I used to joke about her organizational superpowers. Now it just felt different. We'd had another fight earlier, a quiet one, the kind that feels worse than yelling because it settles into the air and just hangs there. It was about something stupid, predictably. I wanted to order takeout. She wanted to cook the meal she'd planned. She pushed back, saying she was tired of always being the one to plan meals, tired of my sudden whims. It escalated from there, not into shouting, but into that cold, sharp silence where you just know you've hurt someone and they're holding on to it and you're too stubborn to properly apologize. I ended up making myself a sandwich. She went to bed without another word. That was hours ago. The house was completely still now. The only sound, the hum of the fridge. I finally tapped the icon. The month view popped up, showing October. All those little colored blocks. Green for Leo's stuff, purple for Chloe's ballet, and play dates. Yellow for my work meetings, orange for Emily's. Except there wasn't much yellow, was there? My finger scrolled back, then forward. November. December. It was all a blur of green, purple, and orange. And then I started to actually read the entries. Not just skim for my own appointments. Leo, school drop-off, Emily. Chloe, ballet, Emily. Grocery shopping, big shop for week, Emily. Meal prep, Sunday, Emily. Vet apt, mittens, Emily. Call plumber, leaky faucet, Emily. And then interspersed with her own work. Schedule, which was a nightmare of early morning calls with European clients and late night deadlines. My stuff was there, sure, my Tuesday golf league, my gym sessions, my quarterly reports, but it felt sparse. A desert island compared to her crowded continent. A cold dread started to spread through my chest, slow and insistent. Like someone had just laid out a receipt for a life I hadn't fully paid attention to. And I was suddenly terrified of what that receipt was going to add up to. She's 38. I'm 40. We've been married 15 years. 2 kids. Leo is 9. Chloe is 6. This wasn't just a calendar. This was a ledger. We met in college back in 2002 at the University of Arizona. I was a junior engineering major, totally focused on grades and getting a good internship. She was a sophomore studying business and somehow managed to be way more put together than anyone I knew. We were both in the student union one afternoon trying to snag a free computer. Mine crashed and I was muttering obscenities under my breath, convinced I'd lost a whole day's worth of work. She was at the next terminal over, calmly typing away, and just offered without looking up, "There's an open one at the far end, by the big window." Usually quieter there too. Simple, direct. No flirtation, just a helpful observation. I went over, and we ended up side by side for the next few hours. Her name was Emily Hayes. She had this way of focusing, totally immersed in whatever she was doing. But if you asked her a question, she'd snap out of it instantly, give you her full attention. She was working on a presentation for an introduction to marketing class. I was wrestling with some C++ code. We started talking, just bits and pieces at first. What classes we hated, where the best cheap coffee was. By the end of the day, we'd exchange numbers, not with any grand intention, just a casual, in case we see each other around. Things progressed pretty naturally from there. We'd bump into each other in the library, grab lunch at the campus grill. I was drawn to her quiet competence. She was never loud, never sought attention, but she always seemed to know exactly what she was doing. And she was kind, genuinely. I remember once walking across campus, we saw a guy drop a stack of papers, and she immediately went to help him, without hesitation, while everyone else just walked past. That stuck with me. We started officially dating a few months later, in the spring of 2003. Our first real date was to a dive bar called the Shady Dell. She wore a simple black dress, and I remember thinking she looked impossibly elegant for a college bar. We just talked for hours about everything and nothing. After graduation, I got a job with a tech firm in Seattle. Emily still had a year left, but we made it work. Long distance for a year, a lot of expensive phone calls and weekend flights. She moved up to Seattle after she finished her degree, found a job pretty quickly with a mid-sized marketing agency. We got a small apartment in Capitol Hill, just starting out. Those first few years were exhilarating. We were building a life together. We'd spend weekends hiking around Mount Rainier, exploring the city's endless coffee shops, talking about our dreams and how we were going to conquer the world, or at least our little corner of it. Looking back, there were signs, I guess. Small things, like when we moved into that first apartment. I remember packing a few boxes, but Emily, she meticulously organized everything. She labeled every box, color-coded them by room, even made a little inventory list. I thought, wow, she's amazing, so on top of it. I just let her do it. Or when we had friends over, she was always the one planning the menu, making sure we had enough drinks, cleaning up afterwards. I'd offer to help, sure, but she'd usually say, no, it's fine, I've got it, and I'd let her. I saw it as her strength, her attention to detail, her desire for things to be perfect. I never saw it as me letting go of my share. It was just our dynamic. I was the big picture guy, the problem solver at work, the one who could fix a leaky faucet, eventually. She was the meticulous planner, the organizer, the one who made sure things actually got done. It felt complementary, balanced. We got married in 2008, a small ceremony overlooking Puget Sound. It was beautiful. We bought our first house a couple of years later. Then Leo came along in 2011, and Chloe in 2014. Life got busier, naturally. The demands multiplied, and slowly, imperceptibly, the balance shifted. I remember once, maybe 5 years ago, Emily mentioned offhand that she felt like she was managing the entire household operations. I laughed, said something stupid like, well, you're just so good at it. She gave me a look, a quick flash of something I didn't quite catch then, a flicker of exasperation maybe, a hint of resentment. I just brushed it off. I was busy. She was busy. We were a team, I thought. I truly thought we were. The calendar, glowing in the dark kitchen, had just shown me how wrong I was. It wasn't a team. It was a single player carrying a very heavy load. And that player wasn't me. The calendar was a silent indictment. But the truth it revealed wasn't sudden. It had been brewing, simmering under the surface of our lives for years, escalating in tiny, almost imperceptible increments. It's like when you live by train tracks. After a while, you don't even hear the trains anymore. You just feel the rumble. I guess I'd become deaf to the rumble. One of the first really clear signs, though I ignored it at the time, was about 3 years ago when Leo was 6. He had a fever, a bad one, spiking at 103. Emily was supposed to give a big presentation at work. A make-or-break pitch for a major client. I had a deadline too, but it wasn't nearly as critical. Still, I was deep in the zone, or so I told myself. She called me from Leo's school. His temperature is really high. I need to pick him up. Can you come or meet us at the pediatrician? I remember sighing, which was a huge mistake. Emily, I'm right in the middle of this code review. It's critical. Can't you just pick him up and take him? I'll come home right after. There was a pause, a really pregnant pause. Jason, I have the Red River pitch in 2 hours. You know this. This is the culmination of 6 months of work. Yeah, but a sick kid, Em. That's, kids first. I was an idiot. I heard myself saying it, trying to flip it on her, like I was the one prioritizing. He's our kid, Jason, she said, her voice tight, a little tremor in it. Fine. I'll get him. I'll reschedule my meeting again. And she hung up. No anger, just that flat, exhausted tone. I felt a tiny prick of guilt, but quickly rationalized it away. My job was important. Her job was important too, but, my particular deadline was really right now. I told myself she was better at juggling anyway. She always was. She came home with Leo, who was pale and quiet. She got him settled, gave him medicine, made him soup, all while I was still glued to my screen, occasionally peeking out. She then spent another 2 hours rewriting her presentation notes, practicing her pitch in the bedroom while Leo dozed fitfully. She still made the pitch, remotely. Looking a little rumpled, but completely professional, she got the client. I never properly thanked her for it. I just forgot. Another incident, maybe a year and a half ago. It was a Saturday, I think. We were supposed to go to my sister Rachel's house for a barbecue. Rachel lives about an hour away in Tacoma. Chloe had a dance class in the morning, which Emily always took her to. Leo had soccer. I was supposed to take Leo, but I got in a text from my buddy Dan about a last-minute tea time. I knew it was cutting it close, but I figured I could make it back in time to change, and then we'd all leave together. I called Emily. Hey, listen, Dan just scored a tea time. Super rare, Think I could swing it? I'd be back by 4-ish. 5 at the latest. Jason, we said we'd leave at 4 for Rachel's. You said you'd take Leo to soccer. I'm taking Chloe to dance. Then I have to go to the grocery store because we're out of milk and bread. We're hosting your parents for dinner tomorrow, remember? Her voice was rising, just a little. Oh, come on. It's just an hour. And it's family. They won't care if we're a little late. I'll just skip the soccer. You take Leo. Silence again. That heavy, familiar silence. You know what? Fine, go play golf. I'll handle it all. But don't expect me to be in a good mood when you get back. She didn't yell. She never really yelled. It was worse, that quiet, resigned anger. I still went. I played golf. Felt vaguely guilty the whole time. And when I got back, the house was spotless. Groceries put away. Kids showered and dressed, ready to go. Emily was sitting on the couch, stone-faced, scrolling on her phone. She didn't say a word to me the entire drive to Rachel's. Rachel, my sister, she's sharp. She noticed. At the barbecue, she pulled me aside. Jason, what's going on with you two? Emily looks absolutely drained. And you just seem oblivious. I bristled. Oblivious? What are you talking about? We're fine. Just a long week. Is it? Because every time I see her lately, she looks like she's running on fumes. And you're always off doing something. Golf, gym, whatever. She's doing literally everything else. Don't you see it? I just mumbled something about us both working hard about stress. Rachel just shook her head. She's not just working hard, Jay. She's running a whole damn corporation called Our Family. And you're not even on the board. That hit me, actually. Not hard enough to change anything, but it stung. I dismissed it as Rachel being overly dramatic, always protective of Emily. The last big moment before tonight, the one that really got under my skin, was maybe 6 months ago. We were planning a short family vacation. Just a long weekend to the Oregon coast. I'd mentioned it offhand weeks before, thinking it was a good idea. Emily had said, "Sure, if you plan it." I thought it was a joke. I kept waiting for her to book something. A few days before we were supposed to leave, I asked, "So, what time are we heading out Friday?" She looked at me, genuinely confused. "Heading out where, Jason?" "The coast. For the weekend. You know, our trip." She just stared at me for a moment. Then a slow, tired smile spread across her face. "You didn't book anything, did you?" My heart sank. I thought you were going to..." She let out a short, humorless laugh. "Of course, because I'm the one who plans everything, the one who researches the hotels, finds the activities, packs the bags, makes sure the car is serviced, gets the snacks ready. Right? Even for a trip I didn't even ask for." I felt awful. "Emily, I swear. I thought we talked about it. I thought you said you'd handle it." "I said if you plan it. As in, you plan it since you brought it up." She rubbed her temples. "Jason, I can't do everything. I really can't." That was the closest she ever came to breaking down about it. Her voice was just so weary. Not angry, just empty. We didn't go on the trip. I mumbled apologies. Tried to make it up to her that weekend by taking the kids to the park. But the damage was done. We just existed in separate orbits that weekend, circling each other warily. Looking at that calendar, all those little orange and green and purple blocks, representing her endless, invisible labor, it all clicked into place. All those little moments, those tiny cuts, those unsaid burdens. The weight of it was suddenly crushing. I wasn't just oblivious, I was complicit. I had enabled this. And what was worse, I had taken advantage of it, not maliciously, not intentionally, but through sheer, staggering neglect. I thought I was busy. I was busy. But not like her. Not with the constant, grinding pressure of keeping an entire family afloat, day in and day out, without a moment's respite. The dark kitchen felt cold, and I felt even colder. The silence around me felt heavier than ever, loaded with years of unspoken words. I sat there, hunched over the kitchen island, the tablet still glowing in front of me, until the first hint of pre-dawn light started to filter through the blinds. My eyes were burning, but not from the screen. More from recognition, shame. The realization that I was looking at a detailed, color-coded map of my wife's invisible labor, a monument to everything I hadn't seen, hadn't truly appreciated. The calendar wasn't just a schedule, it was a chronicle of her sacrifice. Every Leo ain't school drop-off, Emily, meant she was up earlier, getting 2 kids ready, despite her own early calls. Every grocery shopping, big shop for week, Emily, meant hours of planning, list-making, navigating the aisles, unpacking, meal prepping, all on top of her demanding job. And the things not in the calendar, the background hum of childcare, emotional labor, remembering birthdays, managing playdates, checking homework, dealing with school forms, comforting, scraped knees, listening, that wasn't even accounted for. It was just assumed, by me. The silence of the house was absolute, broken only by the faint hum of the refrigerator. The air felt heavy, thick with the weight of my own colossal blind spots. I tried to think of a single week where my orange blocks even came close to her orange blocks, let alone the green and purple ones that she also owned. My calendar was mostly gym, golf, and work meetings. Her calendar was a life. Our life. She was living it. I was just adjacent to it. I couldn't go back to bed. I couldn't just pretend I hadn't seen it. My stomach churned, a knot of pure self-loathing tightening in my gut. I poured myself a glass of water, my hand shaking slightly, and just sat there, waiting for morning, waiting for her to wake up. What was I going to say? "Hey, I snooped on your calendar and realized I'm a massive screw-up?" How do you even begin to unpack years of imbalance, years of unspoken resentment, years of simply not seeing? Around 6:15 a.m., I heard the faint rustle from our bedroom. Then the soft creak of the floorboards as she got up. She usually started her day with a quiet cup of coffee before the kids woke up, a tiny sliver of peace before the chaos. I heard the coffee maker start to gurgle, the smell slowly filling the kitchen. My heart started to pound in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs. This was it. She walked into the kitchen, still in her pajamas, hair a bit messy, but still somehow beautiful. She glanced at me, sitting there at the island, the tablet still open. Her eyes, usually so quick, narrowed just a fraction. "Jason, what are you doing up, and what's that?" Her gaze landed on the screen. I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. "Hey, couldn't sleep?" My voice came out raspy, completely betraying me. I was looking at the calendar." She didn't say anything immediately. She just walked to the coffee machine, poured herself a mug, the clatter of the ceramic against the counter sounding unnaturally loud in the quiet kitchen. She took a slow sip, then turned to face me. Her face was unreadable. "The calendar?" "Okay." "Yeah, the calendar." I gestured vaguely at the tablet. "All of it. Your stuff, the kids' stuff." I couldn't look her directly in the eye. I was staring at the half-empty sugar bowl on the counter. "It's a lot, Em. It's a lot that you do." She just stood there, sipping her coffee. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. I could hear the faint chirping of birds outside just starting their day, the distant rumble of a garbage truck. Normal sounds, but they felt amplified, alien. "Is that a realization, Jason?" she finally said, her voice quiet, almost flat. No anger, no accusation, just pure exhaustion. Or just an observation. My head snapped up. I looked at her, then really looked at her. Her eyes had dark circles underneath them. Her shoulders seemed to carry an invisible weight. The quiet competence I'd always admired now seemed like a forced act, a necessary facade. No, it's a realization. A horrible one. I paused, searching for words, fumbling. "I mean, I knew you did a lot. Of course I knew. But seeing it all laid out like this, it's overwhelming. For you." I felt tears prick at the corners of my eyes. This wasn't some dramatic confession. It was just the truth, raw and ugly. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I haven't been seeing it. I haven't been seeing you." She just watched me, her expression still unreadable. A tiny sigh escaped her lips. "I've tried to tell you, Jason. So many times. Not in so many words, maybe, but the looks, the sighs, the quiet, the way I just go to bed instead of talking about it. The arguments about stupid things that were never really about the stupid things." Her voice was still quiet, but now there was a tremor in it, an echo of all those past conversations we didn't have. "I'm just tired. So tired of being the only one holding it all together." "I know," I whispered, my voice thick. "I see it now." I really do." I reached across the island, trying to take her hand, but she pulled back, almost imperceptibly, just enough that I didn't quite make contact. The rejection, subtle as it was, cut deeper than any harsh word. She still held her coffee mug, a barrier between us. The sun was fully up now, streaming through the kitchen window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, revealing everything in harsh, unforgiving clarity. The kids would be up soon. The thought of their innocent, demanding energy just amplified the crushing weight of everything. That morning was a blur of raw emotion and the terrifying mechanics of life going on regardless. The kids woke up, oblivious. Leo asking for his favorite cereal. Chloe demanding to know if she could wear her sparkly shoes to school. Emily, despite everything, went through the motions. She packed lunches, braided Chloe's hair, helped Leo find his lost backpack. I tried to help, but I felt like a ghost in my own house. My attempts clumsy and unwelcome. When I offered to drive them to school, Emily just gave me a tight smile and said, "I've got it, Jason," like always. The words were quiet, but they stung like acid. The next few weeks were chaos. A strange kind of Cold War fought in the trenches of daily life. Emily kept her distance, emotionally. Physically, too. She spent more time in her home office, closing the door, working later. Our usual easy rhythm was shattered. Dinners were quiet, conversations strained. I tried to step up. Really tried. I started taking Leo to soccer, offered to do the grocery shopping, cooked a few meals. Badly at first. I even proactively put things on the shared calendar, like Jason, school pickup, or Jason took laundry. It felt like a performative act, and I knew it did to her too. It wasn't natural yet. It felt like I was learning to walk again, every step deliberate and wobbly. The kids felt it. They started asking, "Why isn't Mom eating with us?" Or, "Is Mom mad at you, Dad?" That was the hardest part. Seeing their innocent confusion, knowing I was the cause. Emily and I started sleeping in separate rooms. She took the guest room, saying she needed space, needed to think. Every night, the silence in our bedroom felt enormous. A vast empty space between us. My friends, Dan included, noticed. I couldn't bring myself to tell them the full truth. Not yet. I just said Emily was stressed with work, that we were going through a rough patch. They offered vague platitudes. "Marriage is hard, man." Or, "Just give her space." Rachel, my sister, called me directly. "So, you finally woke up, huh?" she said, her voice softer than I expected. "It's not enough to see it, Jay. You have to do something about it, and it has to be consistent for a long time." Her words were a sobering dose of reality. Financially, things were stable, thankfully. We'd always been fairly responsible, and both had good incomes. But the idea of splitting, of separate households, started to loom large. I looked at our mortgage, the kids' college funds, our retirement accounts, and felt a cold wave of panic. How would we manage? The thought of divorce, of breaking up our family, was a visceral pain in my chest. I started looking into therapists, marriage counselors, anything. Emily was hesitant. "What's there to talk about, Jason?" she'd said. "You know what happened. You know what needs to change. It's up to you now if you actually change." One evening I was making dinner, a truly awful attempt at lasagna, and the smoke detector went off. Emily came rushing in from her office, looking genuinely alarmed, then just sighed and expertly fanned it clear with a dish towel. "Here," she said, taking the pan from me. "Let me just fix this." And she did. She salvaged the lasagna, making it edible, while I stood there feeling utterly useless. That night, she told me something unexpected. "I actually had an interview last month," she said quietly over the salvaged lasagna. "For a job in Portland. Just exploring options. A fresh start. For me." My fork clattered onto my plate. Portland? As in moving, separating. It was a gut punch. A real, concrete manifestation of her silent planning for a future that might not include me. "You were going to move?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "With the kids?" She looked at me, her eyes tired but firm. "I don't know, Jason. I just know I needed to know what my options were, because I couldn't keep going like this. And I didn't see any real change happening." She didn't get the job, by the way, didn't even get a second interview. But the fact that she had even pursued it, that she had a backup plan, a secret escape route, it made me realize how truly close I was to losing everything. It was a terrifying, eye-opening revelation. And the chaos wasn't just around us, it was inside me, a terrifying maelstrom of fear, regret, and a desperate, fragile hope. It's been almost 6 months since I opened that calendar. 6 months of trying, failing, and trying again. 6 months of feeling like I'm constantly walking on eggshells. But also 6 months of genuine effort from my side. Emily and I are still in the same house, but we're not exactly back to normal. whatever normal was before. We're in marriage counseling now. Emily finally agreed, not with enthusiasm, but with a weary, I'll try if you actually try. Things are better. Not fixed, not perfect, but better. I consistently take the kids to school 3 days a week. I do the grocery shopping every Saturday, with a list I now make myself. I've started cooking more, even if my lasagna is still a work in progress. And I'm putting things on the calendar that she used to manage without a second thought. Calling the lawn service, scheduling the oil change for her car, booking the kids' doctor appointments. It sounds so basic, I know, but for me, it's a seismic shift. And the truth is, it's actually made me feel more connected to our family life, not less. I'm seeing the details, the daily grind, and it's no longer invisible. What I've learned, really, is how easy it is to become complacent. How easy it is to let someone else carry the load just because they're good at it or because you're busy. It's not malicious. At least it wasn't for me, but it's still harmful. It erodes trust and breeds resentment. I thought I was a good husband, a good father. I thought I was pulling my weight, but I wasn't. And that's a tough pill to swallow. I realize now that love isn't just about grand gestures. It's about showing up consistently for the small, thankless tasks that keep a family running. It's about recognizing the invisible labor. This whole mess has fundamentally changed how I view my future and our future. I can't go back to being that guy. I don't want to. I want to be a real partner, not just a bystander. It's a long road ahead, and there's still a lot of healing to do. Emily is still wary, and honestly, she has every right to be. Rebuilding trust takes time and consistent action, not just words. There are days I feel hopeful, days I feel utterly defeated. I want to share this here because I know a lot of people probably fall into similar traps, or maybe are in Emily's shoes feeling unseen. Sometimes it takes a shock, a moment of raw, undeniable truth to wake you up. I'm grateful for the space to just put this all out there. It helps just to articulate it. I guess my open questions are, how do you truly make amends for years of neglect? How do you earn back trust that's been so deeply eroded? And can a relationship truly recover from such a fundamental imbalance, even if one person finally sees the light? I don't have all the answers yet. I'm just trying to figure it out day by day.